Hello everyone, I'm Preeti and I'm the registered migration agent at Aussizz Group. Today, this live session is about the Global Talent Visa, the Distinguished Talent Visa, which people generally say, and the subclass is 858. I'm going to cover all the requirements and what are the eligibility criteria for this one and who all can lodge this visa, and on top of that, what is the nomination requirements for this one. So the reason for doing this Facebook Live about this program is for the GTI. Generally, it is being called. This is the very common grounds that we call about it, and this GTI is because recently department has announced 5,000 of the ceilings of the quota just for this visa, which itself is very high. And in the last financial year, there were not many which were being allocated also. So if you meet the requirement for this one, it is really good because we have seen the processing time of this visa once this gets once you have lodged, and from there to the processing to the grant has been very quick turnaround. I haven't seen any application which has gone beyond a timeline of 1 month to 6 weeks after the lodgement of a visa application. In fact, the lowest timeline we have seen is not even a week, and we have received the visas also. So that's why if you meet the criteria or if you meet the eligibility for a global talent visa or the this factor, then you must apply for this one. How this visa works is, this is basically has got two streams. Like we have got a graduate visa and it has got two streams. Similarly, we in this global talent visa, which is a distinguished talent visa, the visa category itself is called as a distinguished talent visa, which is the subclass is 858. In this one, you have got two categories. One is the global talent independent, GTI. For to be eligible for the global talent independent, you must be very prominent in one of the factors which has been recently announced by the department. And I'll be talking about each factors of those ones, what those factors are or what those field of your education or your employment should be. If you meet those, if your education or employment is from one of those factors, then you need a nominator who is happy to give a referral to you. This is not something that who is going to give you a job. This is not something an employer who is nominating you. This is someone who is also prominent in that field and can nominate you that yes, you are good and this is the field of your expertise and this is what you have achieved, and is a kind of a reference that given by a nominator. The nominator must be an Australian citizen or a permanent resident and must be prominent in that field in which you are getting your information into. All right. So the factors, the target sectors which department has announced in the GTI under the stream of a GTI is EgTech, that is agricultural technology. So if you have studied in this field, which is either your master's or master's with a research, or you have done a PhD and do not have an experience, but your field of target is the EgTech, the agriculture, you can very well fit into this one. And the other factors are space and advanced manufacturing. So this is more with the, if your PhD is into this one, the research that you are doing for the masters, or you have done an engineering or done an IT degree, and this is your field of expertise, which is space and advanced manufacturing. The another target sector is financial technology, that's fintech. In this fintech also, if you are working or have developed your some kind of an IT field, you have developed some kind of a website or some kind of a thing which is relevant to the fintech, financial technology, then yes. For example, in the banking sector, there are the developers who have made the softwares for the banking tech sectors, which is for the financial technology. Yes, they can be included into this one. Your software is very different to the other softwares and all those kind of stuff. Then comes the energy and mining technology. So the kind of technology, the automations that is being used in the energy sector or the mining sector include this technology. Then the med technology, which is the medicine technology. So if you are into an IT field and you have worked into something which is into the medicine technology, and you have researched into the medicine technology, or your masters in the research was that, or the PhD, or you have got an experience in making lots of apps and those kind of stuff in the medicine technology, you have some revolution in that field, then definitely this is again one of the factors for this one. Then we have got a cyber security. We all do understand that this is all on the basis of the cyber networking and the security that we have done. So if we are based on the kind of the number of experience that somebody has got it in the cyber security, then that could also be relevant to this factor. Quantum information, advanced digital, data science, and ICT. This is again one of the target sector. So quantum is all relevant to the mathematics that we have done in the IT. Advanced digital, data science is the mining of a data, and the ICT. So basically all of these sectors for the GTI is all on the grounds of is somehow relevant to an IT sectors only. Or sometimes it is relevant if your PhD is not from an IT, but your field of study is relevant to this one, or this is what your thesis is about, and this is what you are doing the research in the PhD, then you are eligible for the expression of interest. How it works is the first step is that you have to lodge an expression of interest with the Department of Home Affairs. There's a form, and in that one you give a nominator and you give the details about the nominator who is prominent into that field, and you give a details about what are your factors, what have you achieved, what are the theses that you have done, or what is those you are writing upon, or how your experience is highly relevant to any of these target sectors. As many referrals as you can put it in your EOI, you must do that, and that's how then after department will invite you. This visa is on the basis of an invitation. If you go through the GTI, if you go through the distinguished talent visa from the non-GTI program, then you don't need an invitation, and I'll be talking about that stream also. As I mentioned when I started this live chat, that this is into the two streams. One is the GTI, and the other, which is through the invitation, and another one is the non-GTI, which is without any invitation for this one. And for this one, another thing that the applicant needs to provide is that they have got the income threshold of the high income category. Currently the high income category is 153,600 Australian dollars, 153,600. So lots of people, they get back from this visa thinking that this is something they should have been earning to be invited for this visa, but that's not correct. To be eligible for this visa, you have to show either you are having a high income threshold, or you have got a capacity to earn this much, provided you get this permanent residency or you get prominent into your field. So those could be done through the remuneration surveys, and that people with your target sector who are the permanent residents or Australians, how much do they get? And through the remuneration surveys, we can always say that this is what you aim to achieve, or you can achieve a high income threshold within Australia. So this is not something that you must have been earning this much amount to be eligible for the GTI. Okay. Now I come up with the stream 2, which is the 858 distinguished visa, for which you do not need any invitation, and that is your, if you are internationally recognized in a profession, in the sports, in the arts, or in academic and research. So let's say that we are doing a PhD, but these are not my sectors, right? Which is mostly on an IT sectors alone. But we can still apply for this visa if we are internationally recognized in the PhD, internationally recognized in a profession, in the arts, in the sports, and or in academic and research. These are the four factors into this one. Now let's say I pick it up as a sports. So there's a sports person who has uh, played on an international level and has shown and have achieved some few things in the onto the international level, then they are qualified to apply for this visa. But then in addition to that, they need a nomination. The nominator can be a company, like let's say that the sports or the profession that they are playing. So let's say they are playing the football, then maybe the football association, they can nominate that he's really a very good player and he has played at international levels and he had been a gold or a silver or a bronze or something, and he's very prominent and currently also relevant to the field. So you are currently also playing in that field, then that is the nominator. The nominator can be your person also. Let's say that he's your coach, that the person you are an international player and your coach can also nominate you. The person needs to be an Australian permanent resident or citizen to nominate you. So once you have these two things, then the next thing is again the income threshold, which is again the same. So for both of these ones, the difference is for the GTI, you need a nomination from the Department of Home Affairs to lodge the visa application. However, for the other field, which is a profession, art, sports, and academic and research, you do not need to have a invitation. You can apply for this visa directly, and the onus is on you to prove that you are highly competent in this area. The international, and also the nominator who is going to put you must be nationally recognized. So if your nominator is not onto the international recognition but nationally recognized, which is through within Australia, is fine for this. There are other factors in this visa that you have to show that if this that you are to an Australian benefit to the economy of the Australia or to the people in Australia. So you have to show that one to the community, how you are going to contribute towards the Australian community. This is what is about the distinguished talent visa. This is a great visa that we have looked into, and it can be any profession when we are talking about. Recently, there was one application where the girl has competed herself into the bartender, and she was internationally recognized as a bartender. I mean, the application was lodged, and she got the visa also very quickly. So this means international recognition in your profession, what you are doing. If you are into that one, then definitely it does not just has to be an idea. IT. Lots of people they think that if they want to go with a global talent, only those 7 sectors which I have told about in the stream one, you need to have those ones. But in addition to that, without an invitation, also you can lodge if you are internationally recognized in a profession, also in an arts also. With the art, it is about someone is a painter and internationally recognized, have got the skills of these level, then can definitely go with this one. Arts doesn't only finishes with the painting, could be a creative art, could be a visual art and all, but needs to have an international recognition. How do we come up to this one? There are few people who might not have competed at an international level, but if we search them over, let's say, I put any cricketer of an India, and we search them, we may be able to see a lot of those ones, and even they have been just a prominent in the field. Not that they are in the top 5 only, but they have played the international level at the level, they can also be into the field. So it doesn't mean that you have to be into the first 10 of international recognition. As long as you have just competed in an international level, can make you eligible through this visa program. So I'll be taking any questions if we have about the GTI. Right. So seems like my information was quite good that there were not many questions into this one. But anyhow, if you have got any more queries about the GTI or about the 858 visa, which is the Distinguished Talent Visa, or you think that you are maybe even eligible for this one, or you're not sure for this one, please come and see us, get into touch with us, and we'll be more than happy to assist you further with any of the queries in relation to the Global Talent Visa or any other visas that you have. Right. Thank you so much for listening today. Thanks, guys. Okay, I've got one question from Abhishek. Hello, ma'am. Could you please guide me? How can I be eligible for this visa? I have just finished my master's in telecommunication engineering from Melbourne. Can I do some IT certificate? Would that work? Okay, Abhishek. So let's say that you have done your master's in telecommunication. Then your target sectors from an IT field, if you want to go, then you need to have a prominence in any of those sectors, which I talk about. Let's say that you went into the quantum or the digital or the data science and or the ICT, or you started working into the telecommunication, into the energy and the mining technology. You need to be prominent into that field to be eligible with the GTI. If you go with the distinguished talent, then you have to do it. You need to achieve some international recognitions as a telecommunication engineer for this one. So just doing the masters will not make you eligible, and it seems that you have done your masters by coursework. We are talking about the masters by the research. Even if you have done a research and your topic from the masters was from any of these ones, then yes, we can become eligible for this visa. Next question is from Rhino Wiseman. And how about academic? Okay, the academic and the research ones is goes for like you have done your masters with the research, or you are into the university lecturer and you have got a prominence into that field, and that prominence is internationally recognized. Then yes, this is how the academic and the research factor is being carried into. And for DTV, and I sorry, I do not understand what you mean by the DTV, right? Are you talking about the Distinguished Talent Visa? So this is what I'm talking about, the Distinguished Talent Visa, where you need a prominence of your field into the academic. You have been internationally recognized as an academic or a research, or you are doing a university lecturership and you have got the recognitions and have written thesis about it. That's how we go with the Distinguished Talent Visa. That's the stream without any invitation. And the next one is, hi, I have just completed bachelor in IT. Is there a way to go for a visa? Okay. Bachelor's in IT, if you have just completed and it is then you need a couple of years of an experience either in the target sectors or the international recognition. So just completing the bachelor's is not going to help you. And even with the GTI, let's say that you have done your bachelor, we have done few visas where the people have done the bachelor in arts. They haven't even studied the IT, but their field of prominence was just through the certifications. They have worked onto the development of the agriculture technology or medicine technology or any of these sectors and have got 5-6 years of an experience. We have even done those ones. So it is not particular that you have to be studying into that field only. Your study can be any other field, but your work experiences into one of those fields can be considered. We have also seen the bachelors with the honors also have been able to get into this one. If your bachelors with an honors and you have got for certain certifications and can show your prominence into one of those target sectors, then yes, you can. What about startup in the field of nanotechnology? Okay, so what about the startup? Okay, so let's say that you go into the nanotechnology. You need to figure that out of the what target sectors you are getting into. That can probably come into your quantum information or the digital and all that, and then you need to have the either the recognition into that field or need to have some experience into this one. If you have done a PhD and you are doing writing a thesis onto this one, that can work for you. And the next question is from, I was just thinking between TR or Master of Research. Um, these are completely two different things because this is an expression of interest. This doesn't give you any bridging visa. So if you're eligible for a TR, I would say you should launch your temporary visa also. Plus, on top of that, you can put your expression of interest with the Department of Home Affairs. If invited, can apply for the residency. Next question is from Subina. I have done Masters of TESOL. I have 3 years of a work experience in Australia. So your Masters in TESOL is basically it's into the other language, right? Then it will come as a profession, and if you are internationally recognized, because this Masters in TESOL is not one of the target sector, so you have to go with the other stream into the profession or academic and research. And if you are internationally recognized into that field, then you can be eligible for that field. And then, Reno, how do you define that prominence? As I said, the international recognition or the prominence is if you have got a lot of experience into that field, then the target sector GTI we can lodge with. But with the non-target sector, which is the professions, sports, art, or academic and research, you must be internationally recognized into that field. Okay, so the prominence is that where you have got a lot of experience into that target sector, and internationally recognized is where you have competed at the international level or people throughout inter countries knows you well in your field of your profession. Okay. All right, Reno, yes, I did understand with your GTV means the Distinguished Talent Visa. Now, next question from Abhishek Sharma. Could you please suggest some area for studying further in regional area? Um, Abhishek, this is a very broad question about because I really need to know that what is your background into and for what purpose are you asking for it. And it is because there could be, I could even say you can go into the masters of something, or I can even go and can say that you can go into some trade courses also, depending upon what is the ultimate goal that you wanted to achieve, what have you previously done, and accordingly we can suggest you for this. So for this one, I would say I would get my education team to get in touch with you. And what you should study, especially in cybersecurity. Okay. So Abhishek, if you wanted to study something in cybersecurity, then definitely the masters in the research, if you go with that one, then you have got a lot of, then you come into the target sector of a GTI program. If you do the same masters in the coursework, then you are not going to come into a target sector. That means you will be going into the profession sector, which means then you need an international recognition. However, masters of research in a cyber security can make you eligible for the target sector GTI program also. I'm ready to move anywhere in Australia if it helps me in PR. If you move to any of the regional cities of Australia, then definitely you need to look into the state nomination program of that state also. And the regional study definitely gives you the 5 extra points, which is so important nowadays. Every point counts towards the residency. And next question is from RS Urmi. Hi, which type of professional sectors have more possibility to get this visa piece? So the professional sectors is basically, if you go into the target sectors, then I have explained you those ones, which is the agriculture technology, space and advanced manufacturing, fintech, energy and mining technology, medtech, cybersecurity, quantum information, advanced technology, data science, and ICT. These are the target sectors for the GTI. If we talk about a profession, then that's what the international recognition, and that can be any profession or every profession. That is not particularly just one thing. If you are internationally recognized in any field, can go with this one. So the professional sectors, if you go as a profession, can be any. Kunsang, after completion PhD, do we need experience for this visa for ICT? So Kunsang, as I said, for the target sectors, you do not need any experience. If you have done PhD, or even when you only have got 6 months left on your PhD and your topic about, or the thesis that you are doing is one of those target sectors, then you do not need any experience. Then probably on the basis of your thesis, and you have published those theses, they have come into the articles, you can be eligible for that one. Next is Neetha Rajaram, and my PR expired a year now. My renewal was rejected due to being away more than 2 years. Any way to reapply with definite approval? Neetha, we need more information about that. What was the residency application? What was the reason? And are you talking about the RRV, resident return visa? And because if it is about a resident return visa that you wanted to come back, you need to show the factors that you are still connected to Australia in any of the factors, and then only you can come back into this visa. Devendra Karki, how to contact you for further discussion to know eligibility and requirements. Devendra, one of our team members will get in touch with you, or otherwise you can book an appointment calling at our office, and all the numbers are provided in this forum itself, and we are more than happy to assist you further for further inquiries. Next question is from, Sabrina. I have 3 years experience in Australia, more in abroad in teaching English. Okay. Sabrina, just the experience is not going to, so, and is not going to just count. Is it the university lecturer, and are you talking about the profession, or you are targeting a sector? If you're targeting a sector, then you need to be prominent into that sector. If you are targeting a profession, then you need to have an international recognition. So teaching English, I do understand, but was that an internationally recognition for this one? If not, into academic and research, if you're coming into as a university lecturer, then you need to have an international recognition in that field. Abhishek Sharma, I just finished my master's, so Abhishek, I just can't say much about this. If global visa cancel, we are able to apply other visa for ICT. What are the chances? So there is no cancellation of this visa. This is just an expression of interest that you are lodging. It does not give you any bridging visa. It does not give you anything unless until you apply for the visa. And you only apply once you are invited. So basically, once you are invited, you are all good. There are very less chances that your visa can get refused, provided the information that you have provided in an expression of interest is all correct and is all up to date, and you have got the documents to prove the information that you have lodged in expression of interest. And let's say that you have lodged an expression of interest and you did not hear anything back from them, so it does not affect your further visas. You are as good as applying for any other visas. It has got no history about you have applied for an expression of interest. Even if you're not eligible and you think that you can still make some eligibility to this, you can still apply for expression of interest. There's no harm applying for that. And Subina, again, can you please ask someone to contact me? Yes, sure. We have noted this one and definitely we'll get in touch with you. Virtue, I have a degree in Doctor of Optometry and I have worked for 8 years in this field. Am I eligible to apply for this field? Virtue, yes, I would say, because you can get into the medtech if you have worked into that field. And I would need more information so that we can check the in details of your eligibility, and would highly recommend to come and get in touch with us for this program, and we will check the eligibility. If you will be eligible, the first step will be to lodging an expression of interest with the department. If invited, we can always go with an 858. When start Patel Delhi? When start to grant 491 visa for offshore, ma'am? Dilip, they have started doing the processing. We have just recently seen that one, but at a very slow rate. The other visas, the 190 and all, were also on hold, which we have started seeing that they have started progressing a little bit, and so eventually we'll get there. But it is definitely a longer processing than expected from the standard processing time of what's written on the websites. Mohit Mehta, what about CPA for accountants? And the CPA for an accountant does not come into the financial technology. You need to have the IT prominence with the financial field. Shalika, does Victorian government provide 491 family sponsored visa? If so, can my husband apply through my relatives? The 491 is not the family sponsored on anyone. If you are applying through the relative sponsored, then relative sponsored visa has got a separate field as a 491, irrespective of any state, as long as the relatives who is going to sponsor you lives in a designated area or any regional area of Australia, and your occupation is in a long-term list, MLT SSL list, then you are eligible to apply for an expression of interest. Depending upon your occupation, the points ranges between 80 to 95 to receive an invitation for a 491 visa. We highly recommend everyone, if they are eligible for lodging an expression of interest for 491 relative sponsored, they must lodge it. So, Shalika, so it depends on lots of factors. It is not through the Victorian government, it is through the federal government who issues the 491 relative sponsored visas, and you need to lodge an expression of interest for this one. If you are a main applicant and your husband has got the relatives, then definitely, if your husband is also into an application as a secondary applicant, then you can still claim the 15 points for the relatives, because the relatives can be yours or can be your husband's, who are either a permanent resident or a citizen living in a regional area of Australia. Next is RRV, yes. So, Nitharajan, yes, as I said, for an RRV, resident return visa, you need to show that you have still got the contacts within Australia, or what is your prominence into this one. So, what you need to do is you have to show that you would be having the lease or some employments over here and all, and some connection with Australia to get your RRV. And you should apply only for 3 months initially, so that once you return to the country, then you can, after 3 months or after the eligibility of 1 year, you can apply for another 2 years of the visa. Boham Hassan, I have bachelor's in mechanical engineering and 1 year experience in energy sector, turbine and engineer. Would I be eligible? So your target sectors is not one of those ones. So it doesn't seem. It is more into the IT prominence. So for the GTI, you will not be eligible. And next one is from pediatrics, neurosurgeon, MRCS. I'm doctor and I want to go to Australia. For the doctors, it is not something that these target sectors which I was talking about, the medicine technology, if you have worked into the IT with the medicine technology, then you will be eligible. Otherwise, the skilled migration program for the doctors, you have to go through the registration process first. Once you get the registration of a doctor in Australia, you can apply for the permanent residency. To apply for your registration, you need to sit for an exam, and you have to get your first the documentation process, and then need to sit for an exam with the medical boards of Australia. And once you have got this one, you get a registration. Your registration is a skills assessment. There's no separate assessment for the doctors. Samir Khan, my wife is completing her MBIS soon. Which regional area will be better for us to move and get PR ASAP? Samir, to apply for any of the permanent residency, The first thing is you need to look into the skills assessment. What skills assessment she will be getting after completing her MBIS. And if she has to do the professional year, then I would say look into the state requirements, which state recognizes the professional year as the study also. If she doesn't need to do the professional year, then you need to look into what is her assessment requirement. But does she need a 1 year of an experience, or her qualification is accredited? And then accordingly, you have to think about the state. So firstly, you have to look into the occupation she will be eligible for from the long term or the short term list, and accordingly then only you should choose your moving state where you wanted to move. And it also depends upon where you have currently studied also. And pediatrics neurosurgeon, I did my MBBS. I'm calling Aussizz from last 5 days. um, we should get in touch with you. But so basically, to further inquire for the things, you need to book an appointment with one of the migration agent, and if you can get in touch with us and book an appointment, that is the best way to speak to one of the agencies. Dinesh Jayasuriya, if study masters in telecommunication, am I eligible for professional year in engineering? Yes, you will be to masters in telecommunication. You can definitely do the professional year while holding your graduate visa. So, Veena, what is the meaning of internally recognized? Can I work with my TESOL degree all over the world? Not internally, you must be internationally recognized. So, international means that throughout the country. So, inter-country, there's a recognition of your profession. Next question is from Yasmin. With the 489 visa, when is it allowed to apply for permanent resident, and what are the requirements, please? So once you are granted a 489 visa, you have to live and work in a regional area for 2 years. Your work should be for minimum 35 hours per week, at least for 1 year. And living in 2 years in the regional area can be one or more than one regional area. And after 2 years of living, and while living 1 year of a work, you will be eligible for an 887 visa. Mohammed, next question. I got an undergrad in structural engineering honors, project management masters, 1 year research component, but not called masters by research. I'm currently working in the oil and gas and refining as a structural project engineer as an entry level. Am I eligible for GTI? I'm in Victoria, so it's hard to get state sponsorship. Mohammed, thanks. And I do completely understand it's hard to get the state sponsorship from Victoria at this point of time. And you said that you have got a research component, but it is not called the Masters by Research. And your engineering degree is into the honors. Is the 1 year work that you are working in your oil and gas, is that if that's relevant to any of the target sectors which I have mentioned, into energy and mining technology, then yes, I would say you can get into you can lodge your expression of interest, and we would need a lot of referrals for you. Although you said that you are working at an entry level, but we have to show how you have got a capacity of earning the high income threshold. So looking into yours looks like, yes, you can apply for the expression of interest. And then the next is from Bene Volent. And can you please contact me too? Yes, we will note it down and we'll definitely get in touch with you. Sabina, could you please again explain about this visa? Sabina, all right, I would say, would you mind just going back into my this thing and just listen to this program again, because otherwise we have got a limited time frame. I'm happy to talk about it again, even over the phone. So if you book an appointment and speak to me, I can go through. Otherwise, just listen to this one again, and I think that should help you out. And next one from Yasmin, I meant the 491. Okay, so you initially asked for a 489 and now the 491 requirements. So with the 491 requirement to apply for the permanent residency is that you have to live and work in a regional area for 3 years and have to earn minimum 53,900 each year to be eligible to apply for 191 visa, which is the permanent residency. You can be living anywhere in Australia, which should be a regional area. The work that you're doing can be full-time, part-time, casual, can be any, but the main thing is that you must be earning 53,900. So it is very different to the 887 requirement where the work has to be the full-time, but there is no minimum income requirement. However, in the 491, it can be any work, can be in your field or not in your field in your nominated occupation, but needs to be for the income threshold of 53,900. Malkeet Zira, what about enrolled nurses? Enrolled nurses is a critical skills list. It is not the target sector. The government has just recently announced the PSOL skills, in which there are a lot of skills about the health professions. For that, you need the employer sponsored, where the visas can be fast tracked. Shivi, I have applied 190 visa last year in November. When will offshore visa will be granted? I'm RN. The registered nurses visas are definitely getting into the processing. So you should get into touch with your officer and talk to, and if you've got any employer here who can write that they want you to come back to the work, or you can have some job offer letter that will help you in processing if you're currently stuck offshore. You can also apply for a travel exemption on the grounds of the critical health sector work that you are eligible to work for. Okay, Abhishek Sharma, can you please elaborate the international recognition? So, as I said, let's say I'm a sports person, or I'm into the profession or anything. So the international recognition means I have done the competitions at the international level, right? I have participated in Oceanic Awards, or I have participated in whatever the sports awards there are, right? So this is the international recognition. Then let's say it's a cricket, and they have played at an international level, right? This is for the arts, or for the or for the sports, and for academic and research, they have got the thesis that's written over there, and in the profession, they are internationally recognized, which means inter the country, people know them. Tehfim Ahmed Wani, currently, what is the time frame for applying under GTI to getting a GTI identifier? I applied ending July and still haven't heard back from them. So we have seen that the nominations which were lodged post June, they were getting the invitations quite soon. Now for the July, it has been 6 weeks, so we are looking into about 8 weeks of hearing back from the department for a nomination. And good luck for that, Rafi. Hamad Hassan, Natural Science Chemistry, PhD holder, eligible for this category. Yes, you can definitely apply for your nomination based into this field if you can get into yours is the chemistry. If you can see the you can get into the field that you are relevant to the medical technology in any way, or your energy or the mining sector. Shalika, thank you very much. Thanks for listening, Shalika. And Nitesh, what courses a MBA graduate can choose except research course, Preeti ma'am? MBA graduate. So it is again a very broad question what you can choose it from. You definitely, if you are looking for the permanent residency, you need to pick up a course, whether it's a trade course or whether it's a bachelor's or a master's level course, which leads to the permanent residency without having an experience. Any trade would need a job ready program, we understand, but the master's courses should be either accredited, or the skills assessment should not need any experience. Let's say the MPA, you get the skills assessment straight away without having any experience, or the nursing, you do not need any experience, you can get the recognition and the skills assessment, and then IT, you can just do a professional year and do that. So you need to look for, because you have done your MBA, your skills assessment needs 1 year of an experience. This is where the problems comes into, right? So engineering courses, they don't need any experience to get into an assessment. So you need to look for a course, whether it's a trade or if it's a bachelor's or a master's, where the skills assessment does not need any experience. Then the next question is from Salman Khan. My sister is living in Victoria for more than a year. Can she sponsor me for 491? I have assessment of engineering technologist and having 105 points. Salman, yes, you can lodge your expression of interest for an engineering technologist for 105 points. Your sister must be a permanent resident or a citizen of Australia living in a regional area. But we haven't heard for the 491 relative invitation for mechanical engineering, for the engineering technologist. But that does not mean there will not be any invitations. So keep your expression of interest lodged and wait for your invite. You should hear from them. Cannot be very soon that in the next round it would be, but eventually it should. And Doreen, what about social workers? Social workers again does not come into the target sectors of the GTI. So it comes into the profession, and then the profession must be internationally recognized. That's the other way. I want to apply PR, pediatrics, and I guess we have noted, and we are going to get in touch with you. And Samir, thank you. Nitesha, for 574 research visa, my friend applied student visa on 14th of August, onshore with offer letter only, but she do not need to be medical, do not need to do medical as she did 5 months ago for the visa. When will the file will open and when will the EMI give enough time to her as the seats of that college is still not available? And she's getting COE for Feb 2021 intake next year only. What course she can do? When Nitesh, when the case officer is allocated, she definitely need the current COE. The COE for the February intake is a lot far away, and that cannot be issued at least the 4 months before the start of the course. So she needs to do bridge the gap in between. She will definitely need another COE. That's the same question. And next one is from Bassam. Okay, where's that one? For applicants who already submitted a 189 visa application as analyst programmer, will they be having any priority processing if they already reside in Victoria? Okay, so no, there is no priority processing for a 189 for those ones, unless until your occupation comes into the priority skills occupation list. And the next one is Dineshi. I have Bachelor of Engineering Digital Communication and MSc in Radio and Mobile Communication in UK and overseas experience in engineering telecommunication for 5 years. Am I eligible for GTI? For the target sectors, one of your any of your target sectors, if not the space or advanced manufacturing or energy and mining, quantum, advanced digital, data science or ICT, which I do not see that I can mix it up with any of those ones. If it's not, then you cannot go with the target sector of a GTI, which means we have to go with the prominence in internationally recognized in a profession. So just working is not an international recognition. So it doesn't look like it can meet the requirement. And what are the student visa time frame for 574 onshore without medical checkups as already done in end of March? The processing time is not more than its maximum up to 4 to 5 months. Consent, what documents we need for applying this visa for ICT student and some more suggestion, please. This is my last semester. Is it right time to apply or after graduate? You can definitely apply now if you have got any of your completion dates. You would need a nominator who is happy to nominate you and have to show that how prominent are you in your field and what are your achievements, what have you done yet, and you can apply for the more the referrals that you get, that is the most important thing. The referrals that anyone who is referring you, if it is not organized, can be an organization or can be an individual, and there's a separate form that they have to fill in. You do not need to be necessarily should have finished your degree, especially the PhD. If you're doing the PhD, 6 months of before the completion of the PhD, you can apply for it. But if it is the bachelor's degree, I would recommend to finish that one and then go with it, because if you have got the scores, which is at the distinction level, then it is in your favor to receive the nomination from the GTI. Possibilities of 189 with 85 points for software engineer, Vijay. Vijay with a 189 with or 85 points looks hard to me. But recently, when they have announced the priority skills occupation list, software engineer is one of those ones. We have only heard about the labor market testing requirements, which have been stringent for these occupations. However, it will be really good to see a further announcement from the department if they will be issuing more invitations in the sectors which are declared into the priority skills occupation list. If that is the case, then definitely you should be able to get the invitations at the lesser points if they give more invites to these people. Abhishek, could you please guide us about regional area? Which is the best regional area of one has no priorities, especially in the prospect of getting PR? Abhishek, then again, it depends upon the nominated occupation. Regional areas, let's say that Western Australia, and if you talk about in Western Australia, and I would say nursing, no, we do not have in that one. However, if you talk about the other professions, Western Australia has got it. So it really depends upon what will be a nominated occupation, and then you have to look into the requirements of that state for that occupation, and accordingly you can choose. You just cannot choose without knowing into what occupation you will be. If you're thinking about what to study further, then list of 3-4 courses and then look into what are the state requirement for these 3-4 courses in each state. Every state has got a different state requirement, and accordingly then you can make your pathway along with. In the precinct, will Queensland open the state nomination of 491 or 190 for accountant? $1 million questions, and we do not know that what will be the occupation list, but every state is working on their new occupation list. Sangeeta Saha, we applied 190 visa last year in November, haven't got any response. Though we tried a lot of attention of a case officer by phone call and an email, but still is pending. Nothing happened. Sangeeta, the applications lodged until the September and October has been allocated to the officer, but the November ones has not been touched yet. So I would say hang on there, because the processing time has got a lot longer than we expected. Vijay, possibilities? Next question is from Vijay. Possibilities for 189 with 80 points for software. 80 I would say is too less. At least 85, 90 would be the good point. Afsha, I'm soon completing my master's in IT from Melbourne, 28, 18 hours. Should I apply for nomination from Melbourne or move in regional? Is PR easier for Melbourne or regional? If regional, where? Afsha, the first thing is that you need to look into the skills assessment. On the basis of your bachelor's, have you got your skills assessment? If you haven't, then you have to do the professional year first and then can look for the permanent residencies option. So first get your skills assessment. And for the 491 regional, you must be, for Victoria, you must be living and working in the regional area, or you must be living, you must be working in your field to be eligible for this one. Hussaini, how long will GTI visa to process? It's a very quick processing. We haven't seen anything more than 6 to 8 weeks. In the brief, I have done my bachelor's of accounting in Brisbane and have TR left 18 months. What should I have options to get PR? Is it better for me to move to Tasmania or Darwin, or any course you recommend like diploma or nursing? This really depends upon that how the states are looking into this one. For Northern Territory, it is the requirement that you must have studied at least 2 years or work for 6 months, and same is for the Tasmania, right? So you have to see where is your job opportunities, where you can get, or are you happy to study further? If so, then look into the state requirements. Every state says that. They're like in Tasmania, they would say your study must be into the field which is into the TESOL list of Tasmania skills occupation list. So you can just pick up any study, you need to look into that factor also. Nitesh and Thank you for the previous questions. Answer, ma'am. Ma'am already done BPA, but waiting for invitation for accounting. So done BPA, done MBA onshore board. Do you think it looks genuine if I choose Bachelor of Nursing, or what other courses if you suggest? Nitesh, whenever you are going for any of the further courses, you have to put the GT and have to show how did you get the interest into. So if you wanted to go into the nursing, you really have to make a background about that why you are choosing, and if you can do that, then there should not be a problem. Vijay, I have completed Masters of Science in Biotechnology in 2015 and then working as a research associate in Swinburne and also pursuing PhD. Am I eligible for GTI? For the biotechnology, you can come into the medical medicine technology and all that. So if, depending upon what are your thesis and for what you are doing into the PhD. So get in touch with us and I will look into the thesis, if anything that relates to the target sector. If not, then we can look into the academic and research sector and see if you will be eligible for this program or not. So please get in touch through us, book an appointment. If you are interstate, you can always either book an appointment in that office where you are as a walk-in, or to go over there, or you can book the telephonic appointment and we can see you. And Vijay, I have assessment. Okay. I have assessment done in life scientist NEC, and in November will complete 5 years of work experience here in Melbourne. Okay, if your assessment is into the life scientist and you can get into the medical technology, it's fine. Then that can be a target sector in your case. And then Hussein, Afsa, what is the best pathway you suggest? Sorry, I did not understand the full question. And Musin, I'm currently pursuing my PhD in Australia medical technology. What are my chances of applying GTI? I did my master's from Australia itself. I started my PhD 2 weeks before. Mushin, if you have done your master's in coursework, then you can apply because you are into the medical technology already. And otherwise, upon if it was just through the sorry, if you have done the master's through the research, not the coursework, it was just with the coursework, then you would need an experience to show your prominence into that field. Otherwise, upon completion of your PhD, you can become eligible. Surbi, done accounting, now thinking to do RN from University of Melbourne. What do you suggest? Is good to go? Definitely, the RN courses, the bachelor's or the master's are leads to the permanent residency because it does not need any experience. You need a registration for which you can get it on the grounds of your study in Australia. So if you are talking about in a better course in the way that you can get the residency, yes, you can through the RN. Gurdeep Singh, I did EN from Perth, and which state best for 491? Unfortunately, enrolled nursing is not in the Perth, so you can look into the South Australia requirement or probably the ACT requirement for this one. Gavaji, do you know of any analyst programmer who applied for 189 visa by March 2020, got assigned an case officer till the application isn't received status? March 2020 is such a very recent application, and unless until it's a critical sector, we have not seen that the officers has been allocated. It is taking quite a bit of a time. Ma'am, it's Corona time. Sorry, and where's your question gone? Corona time, so can choose this course. Nitesh, nursing, yes, no, that's fine. You can choose this course. Nursing is one of the most popular course which is getting filled up very soon, and the lowest points in the residency also. Amandeep, I have done my job ready program in chef occupation. I have passed my skills assessment. How many points should I apply for 190? For 190 WH, since chef is under review, it is being invited at the high points, which is 80 at the moment, which is the last invitation round which they have given. That includes the state 5 points or the 15 points, doesn't matter. As long as it's 80, including the state points, this is what they have sent the last invitations for. Currently, they have suspended, and we are hoping for them to open these invitations in December or January. Nafis, what are the chances of getting GTI invitation if the applicant has a master's in IT with distinction? Yes, there are chances of getting in because that is also one of the criteria. 95 points enough to get 189 in network? Yes, 95 points is fine, and but there would be a bit of a wait on this one, probably maybe 2 or 3 months, depending upon the date of lodgement of an EOI. Surbhi Sharma, she answered it. We had the quite similar question. Vishal Yadav got 90 points with business analyst, 189 with it. Should I try to get job work at least 3 months and apply for 190 from New South Wales? That will be a good idea. 90 for business analyst is too less. And I did not understand what's this written, but what are the chances of getting invitation in NT491 offshore civil engineer 80 points waiting since March? Offshore applications for the NT, we also haven't heard anything for even for an invitations, even for an applications which were done early like in this year. So we need to wait. NT is not talking about it yet. I have 18 months left on TR. Can I start diploma of nursing in Queensland? Is it good idea or not for pathway PR? Queensland keeps changing their requirements for the state nomination, and their list also keeps changing. So it is very hard to tell and future depict about the Queensland skills assessment processing. So once you finish this one and you have met the requirements of the Queensland, then yes, you should be okay. Nitesh again, ma'am, currently working and living in New South Wales Regional, got 8 each work experience or accounting, 85 points, will be 100 with 491. Will be 100 when they gonna open for 491 new sets. 491 New South Wales, they said they would be opening from January onwards, and we are into September, still not open. They just opened for a very little window for very few weeks. For those ones, it was a must requirement of living in New South Wales. When they reopen, we are not sure whether they are going to announce that it has to be living in a working also or only the living requirement. So we have to wait, but hopefully by October. What is the next is Jackie? What is the chance and point for preschool teacher in the ACT? It is the minimum required points for the state is the 65 and the macro 670. Now, Navneet, developer programmer is on 85, 189, 90 in WA 190. So 90 WA 190 is good enough as long as you have studied from WA for 2 years, but you have to wait because currently the invitations rounds are closed. 85 for a 189 is a bit less points to get the developer programmer. Garima Mishra, I'm currently studying RN in South Australia and graduating this year. So how many points that I need to collect for a 190? For 190, it is on the basis of the criteria. If you meet the South Australia criteria, then the points minimum are the 65. Richard, computer network for 90 points. How are the chances? Aim for 95, Richard. 90 could be a bit of a wait. Nitesh Shah, ma'am, do you think they will come up in October for New South Wales 491 or next year? We guess October, once the state will allocate, all of the states should open all the programs. Arifin, 95 points for auditor and any chance for a 189. With the allocations of such a lower quota for an accountant, we would say that 95 points should be just enough for this one. Could be a bit of a wait. And the next one, Vishal Yadav, for NSW 491, do I have to be working as well as in non-managed, which is business analyst? Vishal, when they announced that time, they said you have to be living and working. That when they announced to open the program, that time they said you must be living and working in the regional area. But when they reopen it in July, they waived the requirement for the little time, for a very little window, and they said you should only be living. Now, it will be interesting to see when they reopen in October this year, hopefully, that what would be their requirements. But we assume they may go back to the living and working requirements and can have some priority occupations which can be waived off of the working too. maybe a offer letter, or we don't know. Subhadra, ICT security specialist for 90 points. What is the possibility of getting 189? 90 points ICT, I would say there would be a wait for this one. 95 is the minimum. Nitesh, thank you for answering all my questions. Always love to attend when you come live. Thank you, Nitesh, and be in touch. Garima Mishra, thank you. Prince, when WA will reopen? Prince, I'm really, really hoping for WA to open very soon, but looks like they will not open until end of this year. Do I need, Garima, do I need experience for 190 in South Australia? If it's for nursing, I guess, Garima, that was your question. Then they have waived at the time of June. Now it will depend upon when they reopen. Hasita, I have applied for GTI visa, unique number under the advanced digital data science sector around 1 month ago. Final year PhD and also have completed MSc. How long? 6 to 8 weeks to receive a nomination. So when it started in April and May, we were receiving nominations in just a week or two, but now we have seen it's about 6 to 8 weeks, and good luck, and looks like you should get your invitation. Navneer, everything done in WA, how long we need to wait for the invitation round? I would say end of this year. We just hope that they should open, but there's no concrete answers yet. Chanda, and what's the prospect for electrical engineering technician or electrician in Victoria for a 491? You must be living and working and have got a skills assessment for a Victoria 491 visa, as they are just recently opening the registration for interest. Dilraj Singh, any chances? 90 points for electrical engineering technician, 1 year experience in New South Wales. 90 points if it's for your 190 include in the New South Wales and your experience also from New South Wales, then yes, we just see you should be okay for receiving an invitation, and good luck for that. Inderpreet Singh, I have done Bachelor of Accounting, and if I start studying in Tasmania for 2 years, is it possible to get 190 visa? In that it also depends upon when you are studying, what course are you going to study, because the course that you're studying, if it's not in the TESOL, which is the Tasmanian Skills Occupation List, then you have to show your job prospects in Tasmania. So be very careful when you're choosing a course, and but after 2 years of study and your course is from the TESOL and the things haven't changed by that time, then you should be okay for the 190. Anupia, hi ma'am, what are the chances for civil engineer 85 189? November 29, currently I'm working in Melbourne as a civil engineer, Victoria 190. 85 points, I don't think so for the civil engineer is any good. I think you have to come up with 90 or 95. For the Victoria 190, register your interest for this one, because that's the way the 190 Victoria for an engineers they look into. If you have worked there at least for 1 year, then you have got the chances of getting an invitation. Rahul, can I apply 491 in Tasmania, 95 points in accounting? Please let me know. Yes, you can. Vishal, but there are no jobs in regional New South Wales for IT. So how can all paperwork in IT? I have a job in aged care home there, but confused if need to work in IT only or working anywhere would work for 491. Vishal, this we completely understand this thing, and we would say because aged care would be one of the critical sector, you can always write them about it, that this is hard to get the field into. You can show all of your prospects that you have tried everything, and you can show if you have got a permanent job over there, then maybe on the different circumstances, because they haven't announced yet though whether they would be for a 491 other than the critical sector, whether they would be needing the work in the nominated field or not. Buram, I have applied for a 189 PR as a quantity surveyor with 90 points and 28. May this year, when can I expect to get my invite, keeping current situation in mind? And 90 points for a quantity surveyor. The current A189 points are 95, so there would be a wait Buram on this one. Which occupation has high acceptance for 189 with 80? Vijay, it is not depending upon an occupation. It depends upon the minimum cutoff points for a 189, which hasn't gone below the 90 yet. So I don't see there would be any occupation for a 189 with 80 points. With the 491 relative sponsor, we have seen the cutoff for the critical sector. They have gone down even to an 80 points, but not the 189. Garima, thank you so much. Hassan Ali, mechanical engineer, 95 points for 190. Queensland, I'm meeting state requirements. Any chance? If you're meeting the state requirements, just hold on for them to open and then apply for it. Good luck for that. Dimmoth, what about 75 points for motor mechanic in Queensland for 190 without state points? For a Queensland again, for a motor mechanic, if I do not remember their state list from top of my head, if it's there and you're meeting the 3 months or the 6 months criteria for a 491 or 190, then you should be good once it's open. Any chance for EN in South Australia? Yes, enrolled nurse is open in South Australia and you should go and apply for this one. Steve, I've been invited by WA to apply for 190 in July, but still haven't heard back. When do you think they will be finished processing? So there have been quite a bit of a people who have received invitation. Their processing has been finished, and the reason why the applications are on hold and they have not been giving a decision or an approval yet, because once they give a decision, they have to nominate your occupation with the federal government, and then you get the link to apply for the visa. Since the quotas has not been allocated yet, that's why they have put a hold on the processing. We hope, although the state hasn't said that, but we hope that on 6th of October, when the federal announces the budget and the quota will be released to each state for all the occupations other than the priority or the critical skills list, then WA would be starting the processing again. Hasita, thank you for answering my first question. How long a GTI invitation valid for? 60. 1 year work, 20 hours weekly in occupation is enough for New South Wales state nomination. Yes, that should be good. Have 6 months. Okay, have 6 months experience as RN. I have 3-year bachelor degree from SA. Am I eligible for 190? Yes, if your bachelor's degree is in nursing and you have an experience, yes, you should be able to apply for the 190. Sajib, hello, I have completed my bachelor in 2015 in accounting, MBA in 2017 accounting. Want to study information system in management accounting. Am I eligible for another master's? You can definitely apply for other masters, but you will not be able to get the 485 visa after completing the masters in case you have held the 485 visa as a primary applicant previously. If not, then you will be eligible for graduate visa. Also, Vishal Yadav, yes, Gayatri fulfills the requirement, no problem. Anita, what are the chances of New South Wales Regional for 491 and possible points requirements? 491 regional, they have not allocated or have not announced their requirements yet, so we have to wait. Avancha, what are the requirements of 491 for EN and SA? That's the 6 months to 3 months of work in the regional or the greater area. James, I'm completing PhD in a month in health and have around 20 papers published. I've also received Dean's Medical Medal in my master's in Australia. Will I be competitive? Yes. Looks like a very good profile for the GTI, James. You must get in touch and we could start the nomination process. How many months are Engineers Australia taking for assessment? The assessment time for Engineers Australia is 28 working days. Rohul, what are the chances to get 491 in Tasmania with 95 points in accounting? I have done Diploma of Leadership and Management. Your study needs to be into the TESOL, so you just have to wait for them to see how you are going to write your GT or your prospects, or linking your Diploma of Management with the accounting. Vishal Yadav, you are amazing. Thanks for your help. Thanks, Vishal, for your words. Deepkar, I have completed networking in 2017. And what are the chances of PR in Victoria? Or what points they are giving invitations? So, if you are looking for the state nomination of Victoria, then you have to just lodge an expression of interest. If you do not have any experience in Victoria, in an IT, then it looks hard that you can get any invitations from them for a 190. However, for a 491, it must be living and working for 6 months of a requirement for a Victoria to see how do you meet your requirements. And looks like this is the all the questions that we have got it. And thank you so much, guys. And if you still have got further queries, or you think that you are eligible, or you're not sure that you are eligible, but you have got a bit of an idea about it, then please get in touch with us and book an appointment to see any of our agents, or come and see us, and we'll be more than happy to look into your eligibility criteria for the GTI. This is a very good pathway towards the permanent residency, and if you're meeting this, or you have got still the chances, must lodge the nomination for this. Thank you so much, everybody.